And we are live with me, Danni Parsons.
And me, Brent Conway. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the very first episode of her journey, okay?
First.
So those who don't know, Danni plays myself. I'm the Ash United Women's manager. Danni is my striker, but I call her Zuko. Danni Zuko from Greece, okay? So when you hear me say the word Zuko, I'm referring to Danni, just to get that out there for clarity. So obviously we're here today to do the first ever episode, and this is a bit of a special one because this is regards to Danni and her Zuko and her career, her story, her injury comeback, and how she has gone out for 3 years out of the game to combat and play for myself at Ash. So
and how her journey came about.
This is the exact thing as why we're here. So every week we will have a guest on telling about trials, tribulations, success stories, mental health. But we thought the very first episode should be dedicated to Zuko herself to talk about her struggles and exactly why we are here. So, Danni, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been fed. Well, we've been fed.
We've just, so for those who don't know, we just had chips before the episode, but I have started my diet today, so that was a little bit of a cheat. I'm not going to lie to you. For lunch, for breakfast, I had a couple of satsumas. For lunch, I had an advent calendar, so it's not going great. I'm not going to lie.
1 to 24.
I had the whole lot. I had everything.
Which one though? Like a
Cadbury's.
Yeah, the purple one.
Yeah, full advent calendar. Yeah.
For the 100%. Children.
That's for me. Do you know what I mean? I need to have my chocolate intake.
No satsumas though on the side.
They were satsumas this morning, so you may hear me mention a couple of times about my diet on this pod, okay? Because I'm trying to lose 2 stone by Christmas. That will come.
Yep.
But like I say, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. So we're going to get started straight away with Danni now, and find a little bit about her career, how she started playing football, and what got her into it. So I believe you started playing at quite a young age, 19 years old.
Yeah, as young as I can remember. Like my first ever memories were with a football, so it's always been in my life, to be honest with you.
Okay, but so I spoke to Danni off pod quite a bit and everything, and you was at the Fulham Academy for a little bit. Is that correct?
I did like Fulham Academy, Southampton, like when I was really young, so it wasn't like that competitive, but yeah, it's cool to be able to say, oh yeah, I was there.
Yeah,
I could go to those places, but even back then, it's pain.
Okay, so
which then we're going to get into that.
We are going to get into that. We're going to go all about how Danni was out the game for such a long period of time, the mental health side of it, and all the deep bits that she probably wants to get off her chest. Because I know it took quite a lot out of your life.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You fell out of love with football.
Yep.
I'm sure you don't mind me mentioning there's a lot of dark stories that you may hear from guests, and if anyone does get triggered by any of these, please. There'll be some numbers at the bottom of the screen.
Description and all of that jazz.
Yeah, so anyone who's got some or is listening to stuff that they might be triggered by, please just reach out for some help, okay? So obviously, Danni, you started playing at a young age, right? And straight away, the first thing you said then was you had a pain.
Yeah.
What was that pain?
It was just that as I got older, it just gradually got worse.
So where was this pain?
In my knee.
Right, okay.
So it felt more like growing pains, and you always hear, because you're younger, growing pains is normal, and it wasn't that painful. I could still play, but it wasn't as bad as when I got to women's football, where it was excruciating.
So what age are we talking about it being excruciating?
16, 17, and then 17, 18 was the cut-off, and I couldn't play anymore. So
let's go back to when you say 15, 16. You could walk on it, you could run on it.
Yeah, even at 18, I could still walk on it, but there was pain, and there was always pain, so it was the normal. So I was like, okay, I've always had this pain, so surely it's nothing that serious.
So you would play through the pain?
Yeah, just
every game.
Yeah, just pushing through. Sometimes, on an off chance it wouldn't hurt, and I'd be like, oh, this is nice, this is really nice, just to have that little brief period where I was like, oh my god, it's getting better.
So on that, obviously, like I say, I coach players, manage players. If I see a player carrying a knot, I can pick that up quite quickly. So excuse me, parents, PE teachers, football coaches, did they notice anything? Did they see that there was something wrong with you?
Yeah, so the first time I ever got it looked at was a PE teacher from my secondary school, and obviously I was wearing a knee brace, but wearing a knee brace wasn't doing anything from what I actually had, and obviously we'll go into that. But she was like, "You're in a lot of pain, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Let's go and just see a physio," because at the time Aldershot Town were training at Alderwood, so all of that stuff. And
Were you taking anything for the pain?
no,
You were just going strong.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, nothing even would help, if that makes sense, because it wasn't, because it was a bone injury.
Okay.
An injury, it was inherited, but
So it wasn't an injury. You were
no,
born with
not
this.
a contact injury, nothing like that. It was born, and just the more sport I did, the more it was getting worse. But yeah, like I said, one of the PE teachers were like, "Let's just go and get it checked," and I got it checked, and even he said, "Oh, it might be something to do with your muscles not being strong enough to support my knee and all of that." And I was like, "Okay, let's just do some exercises, like with bands and all of that they recommended." Did it work? No, but I thought let's just keep trying and trying and trying. And yeah, obviously those exercises didn't work, but then it was like, okay, now it's getting quite bad.
So what age was this when it was getting quite bad?
16.
And what club were you playing for then?
Autumn.
Okay.
Yeah. And even just at school, I was doing so much PE, and obviously I did GCSE PE, so even during that, I was having to wear like a special knee brace, which pushed up my kneecap.
So you had to push your kneecap
Yeah,
up to be able
yeah,
to run and
yeah.
walk or just run?
Just mainly to run and play football because it was so painful. And obviously, once I found out what it was, then it made sense why I needed to push my kneecap up. Um, but yeah, I would be wearing the knee brace that would just sit underneath my kneecap, and I'd have to do it so tight, probably cutting off blood circulation and all of that. But it just relieved some of that pain. I was like, oh, it's quite nice for about 5 minutes.
So did you find then at the age of 16 when you were wearing the knee brace, did you find that it was affecting your game or were you still able to play to your ability?
No, it affected my game 100% because I couldn't give 100%. And the more I played, the time that I could be on the pitch was getting lower and lower. I'd go from, I don't know, 45 to half an hour, then 20 minutes, and then even like 15 minutes, do a full sprint. And I'd be like, this is actually excruciating. I need to come off right now. So sometimes when I was playing for Alton, I wouldn't start the whole half, even the second half. I'd come on for the last 20 minutes because I was like, that's all I've got in me. So I'm going to do the last 20 minutes and then the match will be done. So even like that is so debilitating because it's like, all I want to do is play football.
Yeah, so obviously then, so like you say, you come on for the last 20 minutes. People must have started to realise then that this isn't Danny we know. Danny likes to play 90 minutes, so it's now getting more serious.
Yeah, but I never told anyone how much.
So that's
Yeah.
why. Why didn't you want to tell anyone? Was it because you were worried that it might be something more serious? Was it the lack of playing football you were worried about?
Yeah, I think also you don't know how to reach out for help. You firstly, I didn't know what's going on, so even I was questioning like, why is this happening? Why me? It's always the whys, and I was like, how do I even reach out for help with this? Because I don't know who to turn to ask to be like, what's actually going on. Um, so I definitely didn't tell anyone because I didn't want to feel like I was letting the team down. I didn't want to be like, oh, I've got this hurt knee
So
uh,
like pressure on you
to keep going.
yes.
And I was like, I can't let the team down. Don't want to let myself down. If I if I keep going, oh, I can't actually play, then it looks like, are you just like faking it? That's always what I thought was. You
got
can
inside
always
your own
play.
head.
Yeah, I got inside my own head, and I was always thinking, people are either gonna think I'm not being truthful, or that I'm just lying about it, or of
Why
how
did you
painful it
think
was.
that? Was there
I think
just
it
it's
was
just
just
something you
so.
created in
I think I
yourself?
just created it in my head, but always having to put so much pressure, not having to put so much pressure on myself, but I just always have. And it's like if I can't do something to my best ability, then suddenly I'm just letting people down. And that is how I've always thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so we fast forward then. So you're playing for Alton, you're 16.
Yep.
What age did you then go, right, I now need to go and get this sorted or reach out for help? How did
Mm-hmm.
that process come about to get the right channels of help?
So I must have been 17, early 18, maybe. And it was when it got really bad. I was playing for Fleet at the time, and I played one match with them, and it was a friendly game. And I did 20 minutes, and it was my last match I ever played before surgery. And I remember it really well. I played 20 minutes, maybe even less than that. But I just did one sprint, and suddenly, I always say to people, I felt it go, but it didn't ping or anything like that. I just had a shock of pain go in my knee and like up my leg, and I just thought I can't even run properly anymore. Like I hadn't been able to run properly for even during autumn days. I'd be changing my run to try and not make it hurt. Even walking, I was like changing my walk to not make it hurt, and that really
Anything
didn't
you could
help.
do to just get through the pain barrier, get through
Yep,
the game?
like walking up the stairs differently, just changing my whole life because of how much pain I was in.
Right, so you're playing for Fleet,
Mm-hmm.
you felt a ping in your knee.
Yeah, like just a shock of pain.
So what happened then? Did you go to hospital? Did you get taken off by a stretcher? Did you just go
No,
home?
I just said right, I've got to come off it because the pain I'm feeling right now is too much. And I came off the pitch, and they're like, just put some ice packs on it, it will
Mhm.
help. And yeah, no ice packs could have helped what was
Yes.
going on in that moment. And everyone was like, do you have just what 10 more minutes in you? And I was like, I actually don't. And that was the moment I was like, I need to get this sorted, otherwise the feeling of letting people down and not being able to do a job on the pitch was breaking me.
Right. So
So
you
then,
know you need to get it sorted.
mm-hmm.
Did you have a time period in your head where you're like, it's going to take this long to be sorted and then I will be back on the pitch?
Well, I came off that pitch being like, right, I need to get it sorted. It was a moment where I was like, I need to stop football right now. And in my head, I thought, right, give it 2 or 3 weeks maximum.
Right.
A
So
little break from football.
for those who don't know, I know how
Yeah,
long Danny was out of the game, but for the purposes of this, just remember she said 2 to 3 weeks.
yeah,
Okay, keep that in your heads.
just a cheeky 2 weeks,
Cheeky 2 weeks.
cheeky 2 weeks.
So the next step, you knew you had to sort something out. Did you go to
Mhm.
hospital? Did you
Not
speak
straight
to
away.
parents?
I My parents already knew how much pain I was in because I'd seen a chiropractor before, and they tried to do a bit of red light therapy on it, and everyone was trying to help, but no one knew the answer
Mm-hmm.
because I hadn't been to a surgeon, I hadn't had the scans. They were all just going off what they could see on the outside because it never swelled up or anything like that. It never bruised, it never inflamed. So you could only go off what you can see in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it must have been a couple of weeks after I was like, right,
So
I
you're
want.
already now 2 weeks in
Yeah, it
to the
must have been something
process.
like that. I can't really
Yeah.
remember time frames exactly, but then I was like, right, doctor's appointments. Let's just go into this because something needs to go on. I need answers.
Yes.
That is my main thing. I was like, I need an answer to why I'm in so much pain. So doctors saw it, and then they referred me to hospital. Just that process of like, okay, something serious, we'll refer you to a
But
hospital.
but so something serious, but we don't know what.
No,
We just know it's something serious.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's sort of scary at the same time because you're like,
Because they don't know what's wrong with
no,
you.
but even I'm like, oh, okay, you're referring me to a hospital now, and
Was that your first time in hospital for anything like serious?
yeah, serious,
Okay.
yeah. And then I got referred to a surgeon, really good surgeon, and he was like, right, let's just start with an X-ray. And then I think the same day I went and got the X-ray because I was at Frimley Park, and he was like, he already knew what had happened because he's seen so many injuries like
This
this,
type
but
of
this type of
yes.
injury. So he was like, just go and get an X-ray. And I was like, right, what time does the X-ray shut? Because there was obviously a time on it, I think. It's just like a
Actual
shop.
five. It's just close at
I
five.
think it had something like
Come back
that.
tomorrow. We're closed. No. Signs on the door. Right.
But I was like, I need an answer, so let's just do an X-ray. So I went there same day, and obviously the pictures got sent off back to my surgeon and everything. And then you have a follow-up appointment, and I don't think he could see much from the X-ray, but then he was like, right, you need an MRI and a CT. So those were the next process of getting an MRI and a CT scan.
Was that long after you had the X-ray? Was it more waiting
No,
time for you?
it wasn't actually a long wait. I think it. I was so lucky that my whole process, from going to the doctors to having surgery, was about 6 months. So
Still long. So
still long, but compared to other wait
yeah.
lists, it's
But you had 2 weeks in your head that you're going to be out of the game.
yeah,
And now it's 6 months.
yeah. Well, was the whole process of having an injury was a couple of years, but from the doctors to
Yes.
surgery was about 6 months. Um, where was I at in this story?
You're telling the story. So we've gone to the MRI. Right?
Oh yeah, okay.
We've had the
MRI.
MRI. We've had the
Yeah,
CT, and they've
yeah,
gone. You're bang in trouble.
yeah. And it was the MRI.
But a technical term, more they were more technical than you're bang in trouble.
Yeah, big words.
Big words, okay.
Big words. So the MRI happened, and he was obviously saw in that my bones were actually rubbing together.
I can't imagine the pain.
Yeah, and then because they're rubbing together, it then rubs away your cartilage in your knee. Um, so it was bone on bone. There was no cushioning between it. So every time I was lifting up my kneecap, every time I was lifting up my kneecap with putting the, I don't know how I can go around saying this. Every time I lifted my kneecap up, it was taking that bone off of the bone and just relieving it for a couple of minutes. I was grateful for a couple of minutes. That was.
I've got to lift my belly up for a couple of minutes just so I can be grateful. Let alone my kneecap.
Yeah, but it's just those little things where like, I'm in so much pain, but if I can get a little bit of pain-free moment, then I would take it all day long. And yeah, so
they've got to you now. The MRI says you've got bone on bone.
Yeah.
Did you know then that you had to go for an operation, or were you just like, what's the next steps?
Yeah. So obviously, I had the scans. They got sent back to the surgeon, and then I hadn't had a follow-up appointment until the dreaded day that the letter came through the door.
What
so the surgeon sent a letter to my house.
Operation was going to be.
Well, no, I didn't even know it was going to be an operation letter. I saw that it was in my name, and I was like, well, let me just give this a look, and then saw the NHS thing, and I thought, oh God, what's this? And I opened it up, and it was like, blah blah blah. Obviously, the name of the surgery that I needed, and I thought I hadn't even been informed that I needed surgery. So the fact when I opened the letter and it said I needed the surgery, I think it all just sort of came like it all just crumbled down on me, and I just felt like stuck because no one had been like, oh, you need surgery. It hadn't even been a conversation because all I've had is the scans and everything like that. But I do remember that day very clearly, and I was home alone as well, and I was like, who do I turn to right now, because I've just found out I need surgery and no one's here to tell.
Yes.
And I had to go to work straight after as well, and just like work
and knowing not knowing what the process was, what it meant. Did you think then maybe if you were going to have surgery, you would be out of football forever? Did you think it was going to be taken away from you?
I thought, oh yeah, I could get back to football because I'll be pain free, and I knew the physical side was going to be hard because you have to recover from surgery, get back to your normal strength again. And but I didn't realize how bad the mental side was going to be.
So we're going to touch on that in a second. We've got quite a few guests coming on who are going to speak about their injuries, their recoveries, and I think you'll agree. One of the key things that we've heard from guests on is the mental health side of injuries that not a lot of people are aware of. We'll come to your mental health in a minute.
Yeah.
But when you were going through this, was there anyone that you knew was going through the same things,
No.
or anyone you could turn to go, "Oh, how was it for you?" Was
No.
there nothing?
No, nothing. Not even, and that's obviously why this podcast has started, because
Tell the people.
Because when I was trying to recover from this injury, I was like, who do I turn to? Or who do I ask for support? Who do I ask for help? Who do I relate to? No one. And you think, oh, I'm actually all alone. Because I had family support, I had friend support, but I don't think they can't realize how much you're going through because they haven't been through the same injury. They not in your head. They can only understand how much you tell
them.
Yeah, and if you don't tell them everything and you're not fully honest, because you don't want to be fully honest with yourself either, then it's hard for them to actually understand what you're going through. But it's also, how can you tell people what you're going through when you don't even understand yourself?
Yes. So this is what's key about the podcast, guys, that we're doing. We want to give every female out there a voice in no matter what sport it is. And we want to have WSL players on the pods, right down to grassroots players, because everyone's injuries are as bad as each other's. But the people, and maybe at grassroots, don't get much of a platform to speak about them. And especially ones that have come back and fought back from injury and are now playing again. They've got such a success story that some need to be heard. So if anyone's watching this or listening to this on the audio, please, if you think you've got a story, put it in the comments, drop us a DM, and we'll get in contact with yourselves, because everyone who thinks they've got a story will listen to all of you, okay? Right, so we've got to you now where, excuse me, where you have got the letter, you know you need to go to hospital for the operation. How long was that between getting the letter and then going to the hospital?
So it could have been like another week or 2 weeks. It was not major periods, because then I had another follow-up appointment actually with my surgeon, and he was like, this is what's going on, this is the surgery you're going to have. He said, I've done it multiple times, it's a pretty simple procedure. And I just thought, great, here we go, I'm having surgery. But the mental the mental battle to realize you're now on the countdown to surgery, oh, well, that was hell. Because
of the fear of the unknown.
And I hadn't
putting you to sleep.
Yeah, and I didn't have a date. So when I saw the surgeon, he was like, yeah, you need surgery. I don't think he didn't say, I'm not telling you when it is, because he didn't have a date scheduled or anything. He was like, I'll get in contact. I'll keep in contact. You'll get a phone call when your surgery's going to be. And that, once again, it's another waiting game. And
I know you do not like waiting.
And I think that's because of all the waiting I had to do for surgery.
So it's unlocked a fear in you
that
you didn't know was there.
Because of the unknown. Because obviously all this waiting, it led to having surgery.
Yes.
So obviously I did go to therapy, and we'll touch on that in a bit. But even when I was there, like, learning why waiting is such a big, trigger, because
you would go back to that core memory of waiting.
Yeah, and I think just waiting for the surgery and just all that unknown has then led into post-surgery, and attacks me a little bit each day. But
so we're gonna fast forward now. So you're about to go for surgery. You're laying in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you had mum around you.
Yeah, mum was there. She was. Yeah.
But how was that feeling of laying in a hospital bed, knowing they're going to put you under, not knowing what's going to happen, like if you're going to be okay afterwards?
Yeah.
That must have been a real.
Yeah, it was. I think it's probably one of the scariest days of my life. to be honest with you, because obviously not everyone. It's not just like a every Tuesday you go for surgery.
It's not like that.
So I was like, how is this gonna go? I've so you just get put to sleep, and then it's the weirdest thing. I don't even know how to explain it because one minute I was there in a room, and then the next minute I was just in another room recovering. And
That sounds like me on a hangover. To be fair, that's like a Friday night. So yeah, okay.
Just like 3 hours had passed. That was how long the surgery was, and
So what did they do? What did they do to your legs?
so I had something called a tibial tubercle osteotomy, where
That's like a dinosaur. Go on. This is serious. I'm not laughing. Go on.
no, it's funny though. Now I can look back at
Yeah.
it and laugh. So what they do is they saw out a part of my shin.
Oh.
They saw like to make a gap in my shin, and then they saw out the part that's got the patella tendon attached to it, I think. And then they saw that out and moved that over into the new gap that they've just sawed out, so that my kneecap moves back into the middle, and they pin that in place with a plate. And I've got
So you've got pins and
five pins and a plate in my shin.
so like half robot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Metal, titanium?
No, titanium.
Oh,
Yeah.
posh spice.
No.
Okay.
Not starting that.
So they've put you back together. Basically.
Yeah, like Lego.
Like Lego. They put you back together, okay? Attached you back in.
Yeah.
You come round and you've come around from surgery and everything. Was there pain when you woke up?
No, I was just I had so much morphine. But my knee was obviously locked in a brace, so you couldn't actually.
What does that mean?
So,
I don't know. Tell me.
Anyone listening, an ACL brace. I don't know if it's called an ACL brace, but you see the ones where. You know the one that I've showed you?
Yeah, the one that you lock the sides.
Yeah, you lock the sides. Okay. So they put that on straight away.
So you couldn't bend your leg at all?
No, I didn't bend my knee for about 3 weeks, maybe. So I hadn't the muscle loss. Listen, this is the most craziest thing ever. The muscle loss that I experienced, my leg looked like a twig. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You got one leg.
I had my right leg was using my leg all day.
Yeah, the
left one did not move for about 3 weeks, and yeah, it's crazy to see how fast your muscle just goes because you're not using it. And it's
no one doesn't use their leg for 3 weeks.
Like, yeah, even walking, you're using your muscles, but I couldn't walk, so I was always just using my right. So it just went away, and that's one of the things that was that shocked me the most. I was like, wow, it's actually insane.
Right, so let's move on to the mental health side, because I think we spoke. Yeah. That's quite key. And that's something you wanted to get across to the listeners.
Yeah, because
talk me through it. Tell me everything how it
what
affected
do you want to know?
Everything, how it affected you. Did it affect you because you were stuck in the house because you couldn't do the daily chores, like just go for a walk?
I think the first 2 weeks, I was so relieved that it was done. So mentally, I was like, oh, I'm on top of the world. It's done. But I think the mental battle kicked in probably. I don't know a time frame, because you'd have parts where you're like really happy and then you're really low, and it's just a constant cycle of going, oh, this is good, this is really, really bad. And I think because of you're so focused on recovering, doing exercises, the exercise is the most boring thing in the entire world. It's
on that leg, just trying to get my muscle mass back.
Or even just because it's so swollen, you need to, I don't know how to drag your leg up, but I don't know how to.
Yeah,
don't come to this podcast if you want education.
If you come for educational purposes, this is not the podcast for you.
Yeah, leave right now.
Yeah, but you're dragging your leg up.
So I'm lying down, but you're trying to get the I'm struggling right here. And it's something to do with like extension or something.
Something technical.
Something
Let's just put
technical.
something technical on the table.
Anyway, I was doing that, and it felt like my knee was gonna pop because of how much swelling was in there, but also because your kneecap is now tracking in a new position,
which you've not had.
which I've not had,
Yes.
and yeah, that was a bit gross. But the more I was doing that, it's like you see little progress.
So were they little wins to lift you out of the depression state, or
Yeah.
were they up, like you said, up 1 minute and then you're back down again?
Yeah, you get these little wins. You'd be like, oh, I'm getting stronger, and I think that balanced out being mentally low because you're like, oh, the dopamine effect and all of that stuff. Got a little bit of a dopamine hit because I'm so happy that a bit of progress has been made. So that obviously happens for about, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks until I could start walking again, because every day it's like, oh, I could stand for 3 minutes. Well,
Yeah.
the next day I could stand for 5. And it's just those little achievements which help you get through the day.
So we have got a video that, if Danny doesn't mind, we're going to share on the Instagram as well. Danny learning to walk again, basically with crutches. Something that we all take for granted, that we just go for a walk.
Yeah.
But you had to learn how to walk again on that leg to build
because
the
obviously,
muscle up.
like I said, before having surgery and all of that, I was trying to walk a different way to not have so much pain.
Yeah.
So that just became the new normal. I wasn't walking
with a swagger.
It was walking with some sort of limp or
Yeah.
something. So then I was like trying to teach your brain to be like, oh no, you can actually walk normally now. And I was having to like walk over hurdles and just these things that you would never think that you'd have to do because you'd never
Because
think
it's natural. You just
if
you want to move your arm, you just move it up.
Yeah, and it was just it's just, I look back
Draining.
now, so draining.
So one of the key things I wanted to ask you is, you're at home. You must have. Do that again. You had the family around you. How
Yeah.
much of a support was that to you?
Yeah, so much support. So
brothers,
much
sisters?
support during recovery. So much, like, my auntie came round to look after me whilst my mum and dad went to work and everyone went to school. So they were so supportive. Like, I can't give them enough credit for what they did and how much they went out of their way to make sure I was comfortable and all of that, and finding an ice machine, like, to pump ice around my knee so that the swelling would go down. And I'd say my sister was one of the people that were very annoyed about this ice machine because she's Heidi. Yeah.
Shout out to Heidi, Danny's sister.
Because she kept going, it's so loud, because it was going just because it was just pumping ice cold water. And yeah, like I said, I can't give them
like
enough.
A fish tank, basically.
Well, it was more a red box, but it wasn't like a fish bowl on my knee.
Right, yeah.
But yeah.
So you've come through, or you're trying to come through the mental health side of it.
I think I try and say the mental health side of stuff didn't hit me as bad until a couple months later, when I'm fully healed and I was like, I can walk now. I don't have to do my basic exercises anymore.
So that's interesting. I want to ask you questions on that. Okay. Now. So in my head now, I'm thinking, if you can walk and you can start to run, then in my head I'm thinking the process is done.
No.
But so that's why. Why then?
I think that's the process just starting.
So why was the mental health bad then, when you then become not free, but you're able to do what you wanted to do? Why did that kick in?
I don't think there's those little wins. I think you're like, oh, I'm back, but I'm not back because I'm still not at the point where I want to be. But then playing football, trying to, I don't know, just not even have a new life, but trying to work around having a new knee. if that makes sense. But it's such a long time ago where I didn't realize how much my brain would block out the bad times. So there would be times where obviously I would be recovered and I'd be able to walk and all of that stuff. But there's no small wins, and you try and find those small wins where I remember just going out and buying a new Coke to see if that would make me feel any happier. And I remember it made me feel happier for 5 minutes, and then back down.
So what was it you were looking towards? You don't even know.
I don't even know. This is so hard to explain because I don't know. I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I was like, okay, I've done the recovery, but what's now? And then suddenly I just remember, I don't think I even reached out to people, and I don't think people knew how mentally bad I was, and because I was just hiding it. I was just like,
why did you hide it? Did you because you didn't want to be a burden on people?
Yeah, I
Were
thought
you worried about the reaction from people?
I don't
because
know
they
if it
looked
was
after
more.
you, but
Yeah,
you know, they've done so much for me.
Yeah,
Am I asking them too much more?
It was a little bit of that, but also I didn't know how I was feeling. It's so hard to be like, this is what's going on. But yeah, it was just a very, very dark time.
So you mentioned earlier about therapy.
Yep.
Was that when someone suggested you go to therapy?
Yeah, so my mum actually suggested it because during college it was so hard for me to get into college. I was still on crutches actually during college, and even obviously Jess, one of my best mates.
So shout out to Jess Rosser, who also plays for Ash United.
Yeah.
Danny spoke to me off pod, and Jess Rosser was a very key person in her life.
Key, yeah.
To help her through the darkest times, and Jess is
like the darkest times that were just the beginning, where during college I was like, I didn't know where I was. I look back now and I'm like, that is a completely different person to who I am now. That it was a person that didn't know what was going on, didn't know how to get out of a dark time. And it's not like I'm saying even to snap out of it. I just didn't know who I was because the mental toll just took such a big hit to me. Yeah, it took it out of me. And even like you said earlier, like, was it draining? And I say the physical side to recovery was nowhere near as draining as the mental side that I had to face. But obviously during college, there was days where I couldn't even go in because I felt like a zombie. And it was so draining to the point I've never felt so exhausted in my life because of just the mental battle that no, I don't expect. I didn't think it would be that low, but
was there a part of you that thought maybe if I got back to football, that would get me out of this dark place? Or were you done with football?
In my head, I was like, I don't think I'm getting back. If I can't,
you don't think you ever getting back playing football again?
Yeah, I thought I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can't get out of this dark place. And I also wasn't part of a team either. So there was no team to go to. Yeah, but I didn't. Had surgery around a time where I wasn't at a club, so I didn't have that community. Obviously, I had Fleet, but I didn't really know them, and I had surgery straight after. So I think not having that community of just to go and watch some games or go and tag along to some training sessions was very hard because I think that's one of the massive things is if you are part of a team and you are going through an injury, don't just stay back. Like you need to stay involved.
Want to be around you, want to support you, want to help you,
and be around something you love, like football or whatever sport you play. And as soon as that's taken away from you, you're like, then it's another thing. Who do I turn to?
We've got a lot of players coming on, guys. That we've done a few podcasts already, and one of them coming up is Emma Much at Farnham. Great story she's got that she's recorded. We've got Danni Parsons coming on, who's going to talk about her injuries as well. And again, these are players are all part of a club, and that community at a club is like a hub. They have to have that around them
Yeah.
to progress them through these times. You've got your
It's like
family.
like a team to rely on.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that outlet to just have that distraction.
So how did therapy help you?
Okay,
And how
so
long were you doing therapy for?
yeah, so in college, my mum was like, "Right, do you just want to speak to someone? Because we are helping, but there's only so much they can do to help because it's family, and you don't always want to open up to family and all of that." So I did therapy in college for, I'd say, a couple of months, and then when it was coming up to leaving college, I was like, oh, I feel quite good now. I feel, let me just stop this.
What, stop therapy?
Yeah, I stopped therapy because I
And
just
how
felt.
did that go for you?
Bless you. Yeah. So I think for a couple of weeks, I was like, oh, I feel absolutely amazing. I don't need therapy anymore. Um, until it started being mentally challenging again. I was like, I didn't realize how much of a good outlet that was to have someone non-family related, someone who knows what they're talking about, and a weekly check-in is basically what it is, and you talk about whatever you're going through. Obviously, I stopped that, and then I just started hiding everything again and not opening up and just shoving everything down again and not talking about the stuff, like the problems I was going through and like the anxiety I was feeling. And then obviously, I had two therapists.
Two therapists.
Okay, so I was saying how you can only shove stuff down until, what are those things called? The dams, like a flood dam, until it all just,
It just gets on top of you.
yeah, and you can't hide it anymore. So I had a big trip, like a family trip. I went to Newcastle, and that was a day when my family actually saw how bad, how mentally bad I was, and how much I was struggling. It was one of the biggest panic attacks I've had. Recovery, surgery, before surgery, and it's a big uh, leading point or a big day where my family were like, right, maybe let's reach out to another therapist.
They
And
could see you weren't yourself. You
yeah,
started to lose your mental health was struggling.
yeah, and I wasn't myself. And once again, I was not the Danny I am now. Um, so yeah, they obviously at first they're like, should you do this again? And I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm fine. Just like being stubborn and everything. And I was like, I'll just go back to my old therapist because that's comfortable, that's a safety, all of those things. And I didn't do that. I didn't go back to my old therapist, but I did start with this new therapist, and it was in person. And
Did that make a difference being therapy in person?
Yes,
Okay.
it felt more real, personal, more like human contact, sort of like that. Um, but if Newcastle didn't happen, then I would have never had this other therapist. And obviously, I was stuck. I didn't want to do it, and I was against it for a while. But then one day, I was just like, right, what's the worst that could happen? Let's just try it. It might actually help, and it did really help. But I did that for a whole year.
Wow.
Yeah, like a full year of weekly therapy, and it's the best thing that I have ever done.
So
in this
if you're
process.
giving anyone advice who is going through, excuse me, maybe an injury situation in recovery, what advice would you give to them? Would it be look to just keep reaching out to people, family, therapists, friends?
Because I know not everyone wants to go to therapy, and I'm not saying this to be like you have to go, like it's the only option, because it's really not. It's just
what works for them.
It's
right?
what worked for me. What worked. It's what worked for me, and it's not going to work for everyone. I completely understand that, but I think you need to reach out for help. You
So
have to, even if you don't want to, because I didn't want to and I shoved everything down. But there comes a day where that all just
you can only hide
overflows.
it so long.
Yeah,
So during that therapy, then,
yeah,
excuse me, I got to speak to you for the first time in about April time. You
yeah.
come to train with us, Jess Rosser, who we mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
brought you down to Ash. How was that for you to come to a football team, bearing in mind you hadn't had any contact sport for 3 years?
Yeah, I was so nervous.
Were you still in love with football? Were you looking forward to train?
So before Ash, I trained for another team, but once again, I was not mentally ready to get back into football. The love wasn't there. It felt more like a chore to play football again, which was the most frustrating thing in the world because all I wanted to do was get back to football, and it was so. It was. I was more sad. I was like, I've done all this recovery. Why am I not feeling the love for football? I've gone through all of this to all this surgery, all this recovery to maybe one day get back. And when there was no love there for it, it was so frustrating. There'd be days where I just want to, days I just cry because I'm like, why can I not get back to playing football? And it was so like upsetting for myself. I thought I was letting myself down. I was like, how can you go through all of this and not get back to playing? I was so hard on myself as well. So when I came down to Ash, that was the first time coming back to a team where I felt, this actually, maybe the love for football was still there.
I remember your first training session. You turned up and you're quiet, you're shy.
Yeah.
That's not the Danny I know now.
No.
But we saw you in training and we were like, this girl can play.
Mm-hmm.
So you was playing, but your confidence wasn't there.
No. I'm still finding my confidence now, and what's been.
This is the thing we're going to come on to in a minute about how you're not even halfway through your journey yet in regards to playing again.
Yeah, but I think the best thing to come to Ash was coming with Jess, because I knew someone already that was here. And obviously, Jess knew everything how I've been because she's been there since college, so she's seen the lows and she's seen the wins. So having her there as well, and I could be like, Jess, I am really nervous for this. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it.
I remember you training, and then we had a friendly coming up against Manacroft. And for anyone on the videos or wants to look at the merch, you've got the Her Journey badge here.
Yeah.
Now, the two key numbers on here are 0308. That was the first game, the date of the first game, 3rd of August, that Danny played back after her injury.
3 years.
3 years. Bearing in mind, at the start of the pod, we said she thought she'd be out for 2 weeks. We're now at 3 years. And in that game, we started her in the game. We weren't too sure what she was going to be like.
I was so nervous before that game.
She was nervous before the game. But if I tell you, she banged in 4 goals in the first half. Right? Flying. Yeah. And again, but just certain things. That was the first time you played 45 minutes in 3 years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think we lasted about an hour, and then you had to come off.
Yeah, and it was so nice because it was, my family are all like around Chertsey Way and all of that. My whole family came and watched as well, and they're all behind the goal, and they saw all the goals that I scored, and it was the nicest feeling to be back playing football for a team that I've just come into, but
accepted you quite quickly as well.
Very quickly, but
that's credit to your character. You're a big character in the changing rooms. You get on with everybody, so they warmed you quite quickly.
Yeah, but I still was very new, and I wasn't as chatty as I am now.
No, now you don't shut up. We're trying to do a team talk, and you're just constantly in someone's ear hole, just talking. If I've got to hear someone talking, I know it's going to be Danny. All right. But again, this is interesting because we played Manacroft in a friendly. Then a couple of weeks later, we played Burgess Hill in a friendly. Very strong team. And we've tried new tactics. We tried some different players, thought it might work. We got battered. I think it was 10-0.
Something like that.
We come off the pitch as management, just looking down, depressed. Danny come off smiling like she'd just won the World Cup.
I was
And
actually playing for Burgess Hill, actually.
yeah, I remember saying to Danny, "You seem very happy." And why was it you were so happy on that game?
Because that was the first time I'd played 90 minutes in 3 years.
And that then, as myself, made me think what you can take. Other people can take positives from something. So as we'd come off losing 10-0, and I realised what Danny was so happy about, my whole mindset just changed on that game. Going, wow, what a journey that has been for her. She doesn't care if she got beat 10-0 or
No, I
1-0,
really didn't. I
just
was
to
on
play
that.
90
They
minutes.
kept scoring goals against us, and I was just smiling on the pitch. I was making jokes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You kept smiling on the
I
pitch
was
for the
just,
banging goals. They're banging goals
yeah,
in.
they were banging goals in, and I was like, I'm so grateful to be back in a position where I'm playing for a team, and the love for football is starting to grow again.
Yeah.
And could not care that they was scoring goals. I literally was like,
Just to be
I'm
able
just
to play again was
yeah.
enough for you.
It was a big changing point. And then when you were like, why are you smiling? I was like, because I've just played 90 minutes.
And that was such a good thing for myself to see. If I took myself out of management point of view and saw yourself, I was like, okay, I get her mindset now.
Mm-hmm. Even just during games, it's like every game I'm so grateful to be back where I am because there was a time when I didn't think I was going to be playing again. And yeah,
Here you are.
now I'm
So,
here.
I think your stats, I think it's 10 goals in 6 league games.
Yeah.
And again, but this is the other thing. We've played 5 or 6 league games now. This is still so early in your development back into the game. I remember the second game of the season we played away to Milford, and I remember a girl called Louise battered you after 2 minutes, come clattering on your knee, and I could see you then just go into your head a little bit with a fear of going, the nervousness of the kick on it, and is it gonna, are you gonna get pain? Is it gonna go wrong? And that just shows then that even though you're playing football, you're still coming back from this.
Yeah.
And we're 5 games in now. We will be 15 games in, and it's still so new to come back to this. This will be a season where you're just building yourself again. But not only just your knee, it's also your mental side of football, your fitness side of football as well.
It's playing football again, being at Ash. Like, it's going to sound crazy, but I haven't been this happy in let's say 3 years.
Yeah.
Because just the ups, the downs, it takes it out of you. And even my family, like, you literally look like a different person.
That's a nice feeling. Though,
it's really nice, and I'm like, yeah, I'm.
Do you feel happy at Ash Women's?
The happiest ever. Like, yeah.
Just on that, we just want to say thank you very much to Ash United Football Club, who very kindly let us use this place for free. Let us come in the change rooms, recording here, and it's little things like that that make our jobs easier in trying to deliver this to yourselves. Okay, so thank you very much, Ash. So obviously we're now moving into the season now.
Yeah.
And you're still learning to play. But what I've seen though is in training the past 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. See, we got this. You're now playing with more of a confidence. You're starting to develop more. You're starting to play with a more of a free spirit. Sounds cliche, but you can see the enjoyment in the way you play now.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a chore. I turn up to training, I'm like, let's just go for it. Yeah. Let's just try something new. Let's, like, you're always like, how have you done that?
What I can do with a football, you could do with an orange. That's how good you are.
I don't know if that's pushing it out the boat.
No, that's how good you are. Honestly, I see you do things. I'm like, how does she do that? And it's so good to see. But then I'm so excited from what we've seen at the club so far. But we've got so much more to come from you, But again, you can't put too much pressure on yourself because you're going to get games where it's not going to go right for you, like any other player. And it's about managing that and channeling that so you don't go into yourself, which is hard for anybody, let alone someone coming back from an injury.
Yeah, and I think also, I'm also like, let's not be scared to try new things. Yeah. Like in training during matches, I'm like, let's just try it. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, I've been through hell and back with this injury. Let's just try something new. Like, let me just let me just see this skill I've seen on TikTok and let me just try
Yeah.
it training because let's just have a bit of fun.
So this is where then, obviously, going back now to the middle of September, this is how her journey started. Myself and Danny were talking quite a lot, and we're talking about how she's come through what she has. And then we said, you know what, there could be a podcast out there for people to get this, because she had a story to tell, but where's the platform to tell it?
Mm-hmm.
And then we were throwing ideas at each other.
Yeah.
And then from that, we come up with her journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this was September time. And we spent the last 2.5 to 3 months building it, whether it be Danny designing the logos and the merch, which if you want the merch, you can check it out online. I remember there were times where we were sitting in Nando's designing the logos and for 3 hours.
Shout out to
Tegan, who was there at the time going, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, that's literally what
exactly what she said. And we, funnily enough, we was in Nando's again a couple of weeks ago, and we spoke to her, and she was so impressed with how far what we've developed.
Because when we went to Nando's the first time, we hadn't had a logo, we hadn't had an Instagram, we hadn't. We
had nothing.
We were drawing on napkins.
We had nothing.
We were drawing logos on napkins, and then we came back, and she saw us, and we were like, "This is what we've done in these past couple of weeks," and we were so excited to tell her, and she was so excited to listen, and we were like.
And then we've been quite overwhelmed on. We thought we'd build the socials first, build the Instagram, put something out there, and see if anyone's got any stories.
Yeah.
And we were quite shocked at the amount of stories that have come to us of people saying, "Can I tell you this story?" We've got, well, I won't give too much away, but we've got a lady on called Leanne Dunn, coming on, who had a very bad injury. You'll see if you check out the pod, Leanne Dunn and her manager Alan Oster, who comes on as well. Very, very interesting story. And again, like I say, I've said it before, but there's so much in the women's game we want to cover. So we know and we believe that this pod is only going to get bigger and bigger. And we want to get everyone on guest-wise who have a story to tell.
Yeah.
Because if someone can listen to your journey
and one person
and take something from that, and it helps them through their recovery.
Yeah.
And so be it. So we've been building this now for 2 or 3 months before you heard this episode. So we didn't want to rush things just so we get it right. We've recorded things and trialed things and even learning technology. Let's have that right. We had to learn how to use everything here, all self-taught.
Yeah. The amount of YouTube videos, the amount of reaching out for help from people at work.
Yeah, and everyone who has helped us get to where we are has been really, really good. And we can't do this without the people that have helped us and without you guys listening to us and tuning into us.
Supporting. And it's just like crazy how people support an idea that we have.
And it's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? It's been one of the best things we've ever done. And I think this is why the first episode was dedicated to yourself, because without your injury, there would be no her journey.
No.
So.
And I was saying to you in the car on the way here, and I was like, as much as I hated the journey for my surgery and my injury, I'm so grateful that it's happened. And I don't think I would have ever said that, but I wouldn't be here right now at Ash.
We'd never met.
No.
We wouldn't have met.
And it's just that different mindset, isn't it? It's like you can be angry that it's happened, you can be frustrated that it happens, and for years I was frustrated that it happened, but now because I'm in such a good place and I'm like, life's good. I'm very happy and grateful that I had to go through
to get to where we are now.
Go through how to get to where I am now. So.
I'm so glad that I can sit here and hear your story. So everyone, that was Danni Zuko Parsons, and that was her journey. Okay. Thank you so much for listening, for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you a lot.
They're going to be available on Apple Podcast. This is the bit I don't get.
So it's going to be available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify.
Okay, guys, thank you very much.
YouTube's going to be the video.
Yeah, you can. Yes, go on. If you're after the audio, you can download it. If you want to watch it, I need to watch things to understand things because I'm a little bit different.
Then head over to YouTube
and look for her journey. And I've been Blank Conway.
I've been Danni Parsons.
Bosh!